Hello. I just had a little black screen there because I pressed the wrong button. But we're here. We're live. It's Friday. And I can finally talk about the thing that I haven't been talking about because WB had his last bow last night. So I know a bunch of you have already figured it out by the haircut and other things. But yeah, so today I can tell you what he's been in. And it's this. He's been in Les Miserables. He's been playing Gavroche for a year now and just took his last bow last night. So that means I can scrapbook it here. I'm going to scrapbook it with a mix of some things from the July kit and the brand new collection, Reasons to Smile, which is going to be the first time I'm scrapbooking with Reasons to Smile. But I hope you enjoy. Let's just get to the desk because I'm too self-conscious that like talking to the camera apparently at the moment. So here we go. So yeah, I've got 3 photos that I pulled out, and I'm going to be completely honest in that not being able to scrapbook this here or talk about it or anything this whole time has made me not know where to start, be very overwhelmed with options. So in the end, I decided I would go with 3 lovely photos and then work from there. I am going to do a start day and finish day kind of layout at some point, but I'm not going to do it today. I just thought I would start with some lovely photos from the bow. So So these are all 3 of these were taken by fans of the show who then sent them to me, which is very, very lovely. And I don't get to sit up close like this, so it's really nice that somebody else did take them. So I've got 2 3x4s and a 4x6 portrait to keep this kind of scrapbooky. And the supplies that I've pulled out from Reasons to Smile. Well, I want to bring in the red and blue French flag colors. Yes, because it's Les Mis. It needs to be red and blue. So I've got my blue camera print and then the red, which is a B-side to the other camera. It's got a pink dot, but then I'm also going to have lots of writing to do. So I've pulled out the wood grain ledger paper. And those are my kind of starting points, those 3. There we go. And then we have some papers that I then thought I could use smaller pieces of. I want to use the red star and the blue camera from the 2x2 cut-aparts. I thought I needed something to brighten this up with a little lighter paper perhaps, so I pulled out this one. And then this is the same color scheme as this, but just reversed. So I thought I might use a little bit of that as well. Okay, so that is the plan in terms of paper, but from the July kit, I've also got the blue grid from the background, and which I think this from the background pack. So I think this will be a nice kind of tonal blue background here. And then, of course, I've pulled out the blue Fitzgeralds. They are brighter than I kind of expected, but they are very lovely French flag blue. So that's going to work. And then I've pulled out 3 different sticker options, but have not gone so far as to figure out what I would use from them. I just thought I'd put them on my desk. Alrighty, radio. So that's where we are. And some questions already about what part do you play? What part is that in the story? So there's only one boy in the show, and there are 3 children in every performance: young Cosette, young Eponine, and Gavroche. Yeah, he has a very, very dramatic end. He sings Little People, which that's Gavroche's biggest song, but it's really funny because it's not really funny. I don't know why I say that all the time. If there was one thing I could change about how I talk, I would get that phrase out of there. Anyway, just thought I'd give you my inner monologue today. The original London cast recording has the full version of Little People, but that song didn't make it out of previews. anybody I meet over here who listened to that recording growing up knows that song and then goes to see the show and is like, where's the whole thing about a flea can bite the bottom of the Pope in Rome? Because it's very catchy, but it's not in the final show, but there are little pieces of it. But that song, The Whole of Little People, is not on the Broadway recording, which is what I grew up with. So I was very confused because when somebody said to me, oh, Gavroche's song, I automatically went, how do you do? My name's Gavroche. That's, to me, Gavroche's song. And Brits would look at me and go, no, Little People. I'm like, Little People? What? But now I know all of it. Both versions, all the recordings. There we go. So yeah, so he's a street urchin who is abandoned by the Thénardiers, who that's the Master of the House song that you may know. So those are his parents. We don't really know that in the musical. This is just back history if you know more about the story. But lots of things, if you know the story, they show up in the musical, but you have to know to look for them. So they've abandoned him. They only kept the girls. In the book, they have 5 children. In the musical, there's only 2 of them represented. But they have 3 boys. They kick them all out, and they keep the 2 girls. They keep the girls. In the musical, there's just 1 girl, and then Cosette. So Cosette is the one on the marketing, and she is the orphaned child. Or abandoned? Orphaned. Her mother dies. So his parents are alive, but they cast him out onto the street. And he's taken in by a group of students who are fighting for change. And they have a rebellion. And that means that he ends up on the barricade in the rebellion, which the rebellion is a real historical thing in 1832, the June Rebellion. So Gavroche ends up with all of these kind of university-age students. They kind of take him in, and he dies a hero trying to help them, but it's called Les Miserables, yeah, and people are not happy. Happy things do not happen. So there we go. His endgame is a bit dramatic. So that's what I've been watching. He did 75 shows. I watched 72 of them, so I've seen my child die 72 times. It's plenty. Yeah. Okay. Let's scrapbook. We are going to do a Q&A kind of thing. He wants to do it after school. But I don't know where the best place would be to collect those questions. So I don't know if you want to, in the live chat, say, maybe you could leave them here, leave them in the comments, leave them wherever, and we'll try and gather the best ones to answer from everywhere. Okay, I'm going to try and focus on the scrapbooking now. So I'll do my speech, and then let's scrapbook this stuff. Hello, my name's Shimelle. I teach online scrapbooking classes, design scrapbooking products, and help you use them to tell your stories in a creative way. It's not just my hobby, it is my job, and that means anytime I scrapbook on the internet, it's considered advertising, and legally I need to make sure you're aware of that. So thank you for coming to watch my #advertising. I appreciate you being here, whether you are live, chatty, watch from Tomorrowland, craft, quiet, don't craft. I mix those all up. Think about coming back to craft. All of these things. You're welcome here, and if you need links to anything that you might find me using today, it's probably in the description box below the video, which will take you to this month's supplies, next month's supplies, my collections at different shops, all of that kind of stuff, and also to my website where you can sign up for classes and things like that. I think that's everything. Thank you so much. Let's scrapbook. All right. I'm going to start with this. Elaine has a very sensible suggestion to do a community post. Awesome. You can leave them here in the live chat too, and world, but things that are sensible and nice to talk about and all that good stuff. Then we will do that. Oh no, this is definitely not official merch that you can buy at the theater. The t-shirt is these 3 photos. And a wonderful little widget from a t-shirt company called Threadheads, where you can put in your own photos and make your own 90s style bootleg t-shirt. So I have one, Cassie has one, and WB has one, and he has worn it to school today. All right, so we got this sort of background. How is he feeling about leaving? So he had a great final show. He was very emotional. He went out big and brave. But he was actually, he's been quite chipper and happy. I think this was his dream role. Like, he has wanted to play this specific part. No, term has not ended. We have a whole nother week of school. So yes, when he interviewed with the agency that he's with now, they asked him, so parents don't go in for those interviews, you're in the hallway. And what I'm told is that they were asking him, after they'd asked him about himself and stuff, they said, what kind of work would you like to do? And they're meaning, do you want to work in TV or film, or do you want to do voiceovers? Do you want to be on stage? Do you want to do musicals? What, like a genre? Is there something that you want to focus on, or are you happy to do all sorts right now? And he looked them straight in the eye and said, I want to play Gavroche in the West End. Specifically, Gavroche in the West End. So, there we go. I'm curious. I've set out to make this a page mixing the two kits, but actually I might not. Because I'm liking this. So this particular part was the one he really, really had his heart set on playing, and had known about this part since he was 4, nearly 5. Oh, hello, Louise. So he learned about this part because when he was in reception, so that's like kindergarten except we're a year younger, but for American viewers, reception is kindergarten, but we start earlier. Okay. So there was a little girl on the playground that he used to hang out with, and they would like sing songs in the sandbox. How wholesome. She knew Castle on a Cloud, which is young Cosette's little song. There is a castle on a cloud, I like to go there in my sleep. Yes. Okay. Oh, this hasn't printed well. So I'm still not sure where all of this is going to go. He learned Castle on a Cloud with him because he's always been able to pick up songs like super duper fast. It's crazy. Do you see what happens here? Polka dots this side, just red that side. I don't like it when the cut line ends up like that. So I'm going to make it end in the polka dots all the way around. And trim then I have it here too. Come on. Well, take a little bit off the white border then to make it work. So he learned that song, and then he came home and he was singing it, and I said, that's from a play, it's from a musical, and that there's a little boy in that show too. And he was like, what? So I played it for him. I played How Do You Do, My Name's Gavroche. And he was obsessed. And the two of them started putting on like a playground production of Les Mis Jr. In the sand pit in reception. And the teacher was like, I don't mean to alarm you, but they're doing the same play every day. And she's playing Cosette, and he's playing Gavroche. Does he know what happens to Gavroche? And I was like, no, he does not know what happens to Gavroche. Okay, as long as you're okay that this is happening, we'll just let it be. And of course I was okay with that happening. It's fine. It's beautiful songs. And he's singing his heart out. So this was his current obsession when schools closed. And so I have this video. So that he was 5 then, and already like still in this, I love this show. And he hadn't seen the musical, hadn't seen it live. He saw it then when theaters reopened. So yeah, he's long wanted to play this part. The first time he went to see it, so he was 6 when he saw it in the theater, and I had not prepared him for what happens to Gavroche. And at the end, he just turned to me and was like, "That was mean." He was so mad at me that I didn't tell him. I'm like, oh, well, I wanted no spoilers. Joanna says, how long between him telling the agency he wanted to play Gavroche and getting the part? He signed with them in December, and he was cast in May. So 6 months. And they helped him set out a plan of, this is what I would focus on improving and learning. And the whole idea was, because you have to be 9 to audition. So he was 8. No, yeah, he was 8 when he signed with the agency and did the panto. And then he couldn't audition until April. But there wasn't, they audition about every 6 months. And there was an audition like 2 weeks after his birthday. And so the idea was, get ready, do the first, do that first one, but don't expect to get it then. But just, go in, give it your all. We see what happens, and we come back 6 months later with that experience behind us. And instead, he went in and got it straight away. So he was super tiny, super young. He had a lot to learn. But it all turned out great. Oh, he looks older than 9. Oh, he's 10 now. He was 9 when he was cast. Yeah. And he's Diddy. He's 4'2" if he stretches up all the way, which I had to make him do this week to get accurate measurements. And he just scrapes 4'2", so he's a foot shorter than me. I want those 2. I think that's all from this one for today. How do I feel? It's just it's really hard to put a name to today's feelings, I guess. The Adhesive Avenger is going to be laughing at me. It's like, talk about your feelings. But yeah, no, super, super duper proud. Like, yeah, hugely proud. And it's been a whole kind of part of life for over a year now. So he did a year on the stage, but then also the audition process and the rehearsals. So that started in May of last year. Yeah, it's definitely a roller coaster because, it's live. It's not you go in and you do identikit performance every time. There are great bits and there are not so great bits, and there are times when you get told this bit needs to be better, dude, and that bit is hard, stage parent wise, because you want to step in and help and you can't. You're not allowed. This is not your gig. Your gig is to make sure they're taking care of themselves health wise, and to get them everywhere they need to be on time with the right stuff, get them fed and all of that, which that sounds hilarious, but making sure they get everywhere having eaten a proper meal is harder than it sounds. Sounds ridiculous, Shimelle. But quite often we go straight from school into town and then to the show. So we go up and we get food, or we take food with us, depending on how we're feeling. Yeah, because they do not want them hungry and complaining in the middle of the show. And they're not allowed any food backstage. Like if you're an adult, you have more. One, you could go out, in the day to get stuff. Once you're not locked in the building once you arrive. Children are. And if you're an adult, you are trusted to do things like you can eat food in your dressing room. You can get your lunch and bring it back, or you can bring your lunch in, or whatever. You can have your coffee. Yeah. Kids, bottle of water. That's it. Maybe on a long day, you're allowed to bring a piece of fruit if you think you're going to be hungry. But otherwise, they gotta be fed before they come in. And it's funny because if you imagine you're gonna do a lot of really active, energetic stuff in front of an audience, you have to balance this idea of, I don't want to be hungry and I don't want to be under-fueled, but I also don't want to eat so much that I feel ill jumping around on a stage. So that's kind of like finding a balance for both of us to kind of figure out what is the right amount that you want to eat before you go to a show. And you don't want them to sugar crash. Last week, oh my goodness, last Friday, they had a school picnic and there was cake and sweets and all sorts of stuff. There was a moment in Friday's show where I saw the sugar crash happen. His face, just like everything came out of his body. And I was like, oh no, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? And he was fine. But as his mother, I could see it. Yep. Right. So I've done contrasting strips over to the left and then this big band of the blue to set up this background, which is then going to have writing space here. And I've got one photo to put there. But how am I going to do all this? Boop, boop, boop. Okay. And do I just do one maybe? Or do I do both? Because don't worry, there's going to be plenty of scrapbook pages about it because I have all sorts of different stories to tell. And he has a little 6x8 album where I've been adding stuff. So that's not really embellished. It's mostly just photos in the pockets and journaling cards. We'll show you that at some point when he's happy with the state of it. This needs a different paper. Oh, so maybe this is where I bring in the blue from that kit. Jessica says taxi and food service is 90% of preteen parenting. I hear that. Yeah. One of the hardest parts of kids in the West End is that you are not allowed to be late to school or miss school the next day or a show day. So if you're an adult and you work until 11 o'clock at night and then have your journey home, you can sleep late. The kids can't. They have to be at school on time. I did not make that even. So it's a challenge. But also that's part of why the kids don't work every day. So there's 6 boys who share their role, and there's always 2 of them in the theater, just in case. So when I say he's done 75 shows, he's done 75 shows on stage, which means he's done about 150 days in the theater. Well, shows at the theater, but half of them, he'd be backstage. Sometimes they do 2 shows in a day, and on two doche, the boys swap so that one does the evening and one does the matinee. Yep. Melinda says, will we get to see the layout each month you've done on this show that you haven't been allowed to show? So there's quite a lot of that already on this year's story, but there'll be some more to see. Yeah. All right, so maybe like this, and then do I want to put both in? Let's see if I can make that work. I think this one needs reprinting, sadly. Oh, I should have put them both on one blue mat. That would have been better. Rebecca's like, hold on. Yes, this is the actual show. He's been in Les Mis. Yeah. So he's just finished a year in Les Mis. Yeah, I want them both on the same grid, same piece. Part of the weirdness of this type of stage parenting, I don't know, for those of you who have had children, when you were pregnant, did you have a kind of constant voice in your head that was kind of reminding you, oh yeah, you're pregnant, oh yeah, you're pregnant, oh yeah, you're pregnant, all the time? I don't know how normal that is. So I had a similar running voice in my head for this, especially for the first 6 months, because I was so nervous that I'd miss a day and not get him to the right place at the right time. Never did. We were always in the right place at the right time. We had one day where there was a really weird event in London that meant we were about 3 minutes late to the door, but we could tell them what was happening, and nothing bad happened. It was all fine. I like this better than separate mats. So there we go. Yeah, never missed a day, and did a couple emergency call-ins. One relatively recently that was the quickest of all emergency call-ins. He was actually in ballet. Well, he was in tap class, just about to finish and go to ballet on a Friday evening. And something had happened and they didn't have a boy. And I got this call going, I know it's late, but could you get here? And we're like, yes, we can get there. And so I had to sneak in to say, just put your trainers back on. Don't put your ballet shoes on. And bless him. He loves his dance class, but the show, it beats everything. So he did this little, yes. It was so funny. Because then he was afraid that his ballet teacher would see. So he was kind of ducking and looking around. It's okay. You're allowed to be excited. Yes, time is definitely wibbly wobbly. He was calculating up yesterday, he wasn't, he was happy and bubbly and happy to be I've done this dream now, let's move on, like a break, that sort of stuff. But he did also in the morning tell the head teacher on the gate that if you were to take all of his life, more than one in every 10 days of his life would be represented by the time he'd been in Les Mis. So it was definitely going through his head a bit of wibbly wobbly, timey wimey. How long have I been doing this, and how is this all real and affecting me, and all of that sort of stuff. So, okay, we need some contrast over here. I know it is red and blue, and that's what I want, but I don't want it to be quite that, I want it to be a bit brighter. That doesn't feel dark, so that feels the wrong word, but we need some brightness. So let's just start with a shape and then move on to what it's going to be. Does he have another dream role? So at the moment, no, not in the same way that he had Gavroche. And we were talking yesterday, the two obvious choices in the West End would be Matilda and Oliver. And I asked him, if you had some sort of like magic power and you could pick, you could just say, I want to be in that, and then you're in that. Which one would you pick? And I thought he would pick Oliver because better boy parts. And instead, I hope that the subtitles don't just make that really weird. Anyway, moving on. He said Matilda because nobody dies. So I have respect for that choice too. Give your mom a break. Not that Oliver dies, but just, the show as a whole is still very dark. And in fact, this recent production of Oliver, I haven't been to see it yet. It's just open in Chichester. But I have heard it is very similar in kind of visual tone to Les Mis. So it would be dark. It's also moving into the theater next door and has a lot of ex-Gavroches in the cast. It's the same boss, same production company. Okay, so I think we bring this down a little smaller. Oh, I don't want to give you Oliver spoilers on Scapy. Not Oliver, he doesn't die. Dun, dun, dun. Right, so if we go, which way? That. No, then I still have the orange corner there. This way? Yes, Sophia points out it makes sense for the two to have a lot of similarity. It even makes sense to the fact that as a musical, Les Mis would not exist without Oliver. So, Gavroche and Les Mis, we went to see Claude Michel Schoenberg talk about Les Mis, which was kind of epic to take a kid who's in that show and loves that show to go see the person who wrote it talk. That was at MusicalCon last year. And he had to go like incognito, which was really funny. And so he says that he wanted to turn Les Mis into a musical and he kind of messed about trying different things, but he hadn't figured out what it was going to be that really made people kind of connect to it. And then he watched Oliver and he fell in love with Dodger and saw Gavroche in Dodger and was like, hold on, this is why. And so he then built a bunch of stuff off the kind of the early drafts of Les Mis, off the idea of, can I take the Dodger character and make Gavroche that character who, yes, he breaks loads of rules. He does all of the things that you would not want your own child to do. He's incredibly naughty and out on the streets, and yet somehow we root for him because we want to see him be okay. And we want, and so he took this whole idea of, let's take this character that everybody loves and wants to succeed, and let's make him the boy who dies. So Les Mis wouldn't exist as a musical if he hadn't had that realization and then creative jumping point, because that was the process that then made it a story that could connect to people who didn't care about French history particularly, or hadn't read a 1,600-page novel with 365 chapters and 350 pages about the Parisian sewer system. Sophia, WB was in full Perry the Platypus mode at MusicalCon. It was so funny because so the kids in the show are just protected and not allowed to kind of put themselves in a position where fans can be inappropriate. And so there's just a really black and white rule on this show because the fandom is huge. It's the world's longest running musical. That's a lot of people who have seen the show, which means there's a lot of people who really like the show, so they know a lot. So they just say, you know, don't say anything about it on social media. Don't make the kids searchable. Don't say yes to any photos with fans who you don't know. Don't say yes to signing programs. Don't hang around at stage door, that sort of stuff. So they hang around at stage door before they go in, but they can't interact. Parents are all there. And then when they come out the door, we just go. This last 2 shows when he had a big crowd in, that's the only time that he's spent any time hanging out at the door. Otherwise, we're out. Sometimes we've even had people who've come to the show and then they've sent me a message and been like, we're looking for you at stage door. I'm like, we are already on the train. Sorry. Really, really sorry. Didn't know that we were meeting you. Yeah. So there we go. So at MusicalCon, instead of dressing as Gavroche or wearing his Les Mis hoodie or anything that would identify him, we went as Jack and his mother from Into the Woods. But this was basically Gavroche coded because the same actor plays Gavroche in the Les Mis movie as Jack in the Into the Woods movie, Daniel Huddleston, who was also a West End Gavroche. And so WB's idea was, if I can't go as Gavroche, I'm going to go as another part played by the same kid. And so then he was like, and then you can be my mother. But the funny thing was that no one thought we were from Into the Woods. Everyone assumed we were from Newsies because he had a flat cap. That was funny. Okay, stickers and stickers. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay. So I want to make the title a little line from the show. So when he's on the barricade and he outs Javert for being a liar, he sings this bit. Oh, I can use these blue stickers. He sings, I know this man, my friends, his name's Inspector Javert, and outs Javert for the villain that he is at the moment. Oh, I want both sides of this. And then one of the students says, well done, little Gavroche, you're the top of the class. So I think this page needs to be well done, little Gavroche. So we just do these 2 blues, I think. Yeah, Elaine, exactly. He went as a variant and Loki would approve. Yes, he went as a Gavroche variant. Okay. There was a hilarious bit where I was so nervous about something so silly. So the first line he has in the show is to just say Monsieur in a costume that he wears for 30 seconds. Because that is a different character called Petit Gervais, who Valjean steals money from. Valjean steals money from this little kid. And he just says, Monsieur, when he steals his money. And then off he goes to change clothes, and he doesn't come on for another 45 minutes. But when he does come on, he says, how do you do? My name's Gavroche. And right before he got this part, he was working on a speech for his public speaking thing at school. And he had written this speech because they had to write a speech about a special interest. And so he was writing his speech about musical theater. And he started it. At the moment, I'm using mostly Reasons to Smile. There's just a little bit of the July kit here. I have not specifically pulled the August kit. I'm just Reasons to Smile. Oh, I should have done little in the blue in this as well. It would have fit. Right. As I move this all. Where were we? Oh yeah, so he was writing this speech, and he started it with his own name, but in that phrase. So he started his speech with "How do you do? My name's WB," and oh my goodness. Then while he was working on this speech is when he got the part, and I was so nervous that he would walk out and sing it that way. Like his brain would just not clue in. Oh, he never did. He always said Gavroche. It was fine. But I have long understood that my job is to hold all his worries, all the stress. I hold all the stress for the show so that he can have as little stress on him as possible. And some days, if he's really feeling bothered about something, he would say to me at stage door, he would do this. And he'd say, right, you're taking it now. And off I go. So that he could just have a physical reminder of, okay, I can leave that at the door. He leaves it with his mom, and off he goes. That only happened a couple times, but it's good to know that it can happen. It can help in some little way. Yeah. So I get stressed out about those funny things, but he was like, why would I do that, Mom? I don't know. The other thing I always worried about was quite often the kids, while they're waiting to go in, would sing other show tunes. And what if you forget what show you're in because you've been singing Sweeney Todd at stage door, or you've been singing Hairspray, or whatever the musical of the day is. Chorus line. Oh my goodness. What's that? Oh, or the can. Yeah. Sometimes I do the can at the door. My dog, he can do the can better than your cat can, but my goldfish finds it rather difficult. My dog, he can do the can better than my cat can, but my goldfish finds it difficult. That was a popular stage door warm-up for a very long time. Faster and faster and with higher kicks. Oh, it was very funny. Yeah. But he assures me this could never happen. We always remember what show we're in. Do you? That's good. Okay, I'm not sure what I've done with the spacing here. These letters have so much space in between them. These do not. Oh, I know you showed up today to watch me move letters around millimeter by millimeter. That's totally why you're here, right? Well, that's what I'm delivering, apparently. Sometimes they get it right first time. Sometimes it's not magic. It's just doing it over and over again. It's not magic. It's not skill. It's just keeping going. Sophia says it's exactly why you're all here. To watch me mess with letter stickers. And to sing the can. Oh, I also have now a whole bunch of backstage photos of him with different members of the cast. I don't have any official scene photos because they only do these a couple times a year, and it's just whatever boy happens to be scheduled in on the day that then a photographer gets booked. So he's not done any official still photo calls that would show up online or in the brochure or anything like that. They all kind of, just by chance, end up getting different things, and he got to appear on BBC Breakfast News for about 2 seconds, not an interview or anything, but they did a story about Adam Pearce, who's an actor in the show. He plays the bishop, and he's a stroke survivor. And the BBC did a little news segment a year on from his stroke and how the whole process was. How was he getting back to work? What changes did they have to make? All of that sort of stuff. And they came backstage to do the interview with Adam, and then they also ran a clip from the bows, and there was WB. So that was his little moment of fame. So I don't have any official photos. Now, I have done a lot of internet snooping. So there are some unofficial photos that people have put on the internet that I have screen grabbed. So I have things like that that I'll put in my scrapbook, but they're not official, and I did not take them. And I'm just using what was put out on the internet. There we go. Right, so now I'll do the little letters for the well done. Okay. Tell me I have the clip saved. Yes, I saved the whole story from BBC News because I think actually it's a really beautiful little couple-minute segment. And I thought it might be something that he would want to be able to have later in life to remember this wonderful actor that he's worked with. Yeah. He's worked with a lot of cool people, and this week was really funny because we've known for a while because they've been on the rehearsal schedule. Yes, Auntie Caffeine, you're not allowed to take pictures during a theatrical production. That's what I'm saying. I have not taken any photos. You're allowed to photograph the bows. That's it. So I don't have anything that I've taken that's not from a bow. And I didn't take these. These are from fans who sit up close. But there are people who take photos and put them on the internet. They're breaking all the rules. But I've saved them for myself if I found them on the internet. Does that make sense? I'm not taking them, but I'm going to save what I found. There we go. Yeah, so we knew there were 2 actors coming in, but we didn't know when they were going to start because they were on the rehearsal schedule. And then it was announced that they were going into the world tour, so that made sense as to why they were around when those characters they weren't due for a recast, so we were confused what was happening. And then it was announced that they'd do 4 weeks in the West End starting Monday, this past Monday. So he did one show with Bonnie Langford and Jack Yarrow. He did 2 standbys and 1 performance with them this week. And he was like, so I can always say I have worked with Bonnie Langford. Yes, the one night. So that was kind of funny. She's a bit of a legend in British theater. And, she was a child actor, big time child actor. So, Auntie Caffeine says, do they have a professional photographer come in for one of the performances? So the professional photographer normally comes in for what's called a put-in, which is basically the dress rehearsal for a new member of the cast. But the kids don't get a photographer at their put-in. The last time they had a professional photographer come in for a whole thing was when there was a full cast. Oh, thank you. Sorry, I shouldn't talk while I'm doing stickers. Thank you. And Kelly typed it and it didn't go in my head. I'm sorry. Thank you for stopping me. I don't know what I did there. Yeah, so they did, September was cast change, so they had a photographer in then, and then we've had a couple different Valjeans come in over the past year. So for their put in, there's been a photographer in to make sure they get new photos of the new Valjean. I went to do the wrong word again. I don't know what's in my head. Okay, well done, not welcome. Hello, Georgia. All right. So these navy flat stickers are in the scrapbook.com version of you can get both versions at scrapbook.com, but they have one that's exclusive and it has the navy flat stickers. There we go. Could I get the professional photos for scrapbooking? Well, they're all on the Les Mis website, but he's not in any of them because he just didn't happen to be the boy on the schedule that day. So yeah, so his bit was that he got the little BBC spot, but he didn't get any of the still photo days. It's just kind of luck of the draw of when people come in. Yeah. And K-Pop says, I thought it would be standard to have even just one full cast photos and then singles for all the cast and production, if nothing but promotional posters and brochures. For all the adults, yes, but not the children in this production. Les Mis does not publish pictures or bios for the child actors. A lot of shows do. Matilda, Newsies, Mary Poppins, you go and you see those kids and they will have their photo, their name, and a little write-up. But on Les Mis, they don't. It's just a choice of the production to say, we can't kind of police the fandom. The fandom is too big, so let's keep the kids safe by they just have their name, and that's it. There we go. Okay, so that's title. It needs more red, but I've got this star. So that could come in here. Do I want to keep it as a square? Do I want to cut it? I kind of want to cut it. But it is the right size, so just leave it. Maybe I just leave it. Oh, and then it can be kind of red flaggy. That's totally a word in the Les Mis world, I'm sure. Red flaggy. Oh! Hello, Kirsty. You're on a boat coming to my neighborhood? Okay, I'm going to do that way. Any idea of when Reasons to Smile will be at Joann's? No, I don't have a date, but I think it's going to be this month. They will reset that whole section with all the designer collections, and they'll all be done at the same time. Yeah. Sarah says it well. Some fandoms be cray-cray. Yeah. Okay. We got kind of a diagonal going along here. That's working. Let's bring... Georgia says WB has the biggest fan base. That's basically a whole load of mother figures who are like, "Aw," and want to pinch his cheeks. Yeah. Bring that and then do a blue here. Yes. Oh, I can even do blue heart. And he has had some, oh, I don't like it as much as I thought I would. Well, maybe it's growing on me. I don't like this because I don't like that gap there. But yeah, he's had some people come from the YouTube audience And that's been very exciting. So thank you for everybody who did come to see him, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Yeah. Do I like that there? I don't, because of the combination with the letter stickers there. Okay, it's just not quite there. What if it's here? I think that's better. Let's look at the other version. Oh, I'm gonna have to make two little folders to not mix these up, or Shimelle, or just write on the back. If you put it on the back. Oh, Sarah, don't worry. Yeah, each sticker sheet I could just write on the back rather than having to get two folders. Joanna says, what do you and the Adhesive Avenger miss most about WB having taken his final bow? I don't know. I think it's just, we've both kind of said, it's an interesting feeling to not know what comes next. So that will be the interesting bit. There are families that don't take breaks in between shows, but we really didn't want to do that. We wanted to have a little breathing time, but that means he doesn't have something already lined up or anything like that. So that part will be then just be interesting to see what it feels like to not have him doing something like this for a little while. And you know, it could be forever. You never know. Sometimes you get job after job, and sometimes you get one job and that's the lot. So we don't know, and that's okay. This was the dream job, so it's great that he did it. And the thing that will stick with me is that basically I gave the chaperones a little boy who was silly and energetic and just, you know, wanted to give this a shot, but he did not have the professional practice that and you know, experience that some child actors would have already had. I know that sounds crazy because you're dealing with 9 to 13-year-olds, but there are definitely kids who go into that job having already done a show. It's not everybody's debut. When he started, he'd done the panto, but that was it. And so that really wasn't considered a huge thing, because it was a tiny part and not really, just not really the same. You're not backstage for the whole time and all of that sort of stuff. So I gave them this little boy who was like so energetic, and his heart was in the right place, but he needed a lot of polishing. And they've given me back a boy who is really responsible for a lot of things. Not everything. He's still a kid. He will still leave the dishes on the sofa. But we're walking to school this morning, and he says, right, so I have 3 summer goals. And that's where we started this morning. I have 3 summer goals. He's got an exam he needs to be ready for in September. So that was number 1. Number 2 was a particular skill he wants to learn to make sure he's ready for a particular audition that will be sometime before the end of the year. And then a third one was a family thing. So really well balanced, and I don't think he would have had that conversation with me a year ago. If he did, it would have been more one-sided. And now it's like a bigger picture. And so he was like, I know that this exam is really important, and so I will put that as my number 1 goal, and then the show, and then also somewhere around there, I want to make sure that we do this as a family. So yeah, he has learned a lot of maturity and stuff like that. So that has been really, really lovely to see. Right. I'm doing so much rambly talk. Okay. Lorraine says, when we do the Q&A, can he sing a little bit from the show? I think if he fancies it. I don't know if he'll want to, but we'll see. Yeah. Georgia says, does it mean you get a summer holiday? Have you booked a Disney trip? We haven't booked anything yet. We got some jobs we got to sort out in the house, and then we're going to see what we can do. Yeah. Okay, I feel like this needs blue behind it, even though that's not going to be like an accurate French flag or anything. So I'm going to take this blue that I used for the mat down here, which I realize is the only thing I've taken from the July kit. Sorry. Yeah, if you have any other questions that you specifically want WB's answer to, let me know, and I'll see what we can do. Yeah, we're not going to do it as a live stream because I don't want to like overwhelm anything and end up with questions that aren't maybe what the best ones to answer. I want to have a little bit of protection around him so that he can be like, this is what I want to talk about. Cool, kiddo. There we go. Right. I think happy with basic structure, and now just little things to add on here. So let's have a whole look. Cameras, I've got turquoise, purple, orange. That's a point. Joanna says, I don't need to apologize for using my own stuff. I'm showing people how to use it. Okay, so pulling out stickers, I've got a red heart. I've got another camera, but outlined in black and white. There's a red balloon there too, but I don't think I'm going to go for that one, but I might use this red flower. And a wood grain heart. There, can I do more than one of those red flowers? There's two. And then maybe not the black phrase stickers on this one, but the white phrase stickers. So one that says success. And one that says, is this for real? I'm going to keep this stand tall for a particular journaling thing I want to do about this. So this skip, he skips in a couple different spots in the show as his interpretation of the character. Not all of the boys do this skip. It's very much WB's take on Gavroche. He is the smallest they've had that they know of. They had to make him a new costume. He was so short and so tiny. They even had to make him shoes because none of the boots, they had like a gazillion pairs of boots and none of them were small enough for him. So when he found out that he was so small compared to all the other actually small boys, because stage children are small because they have to look like children compared to the adults, and you can't employ like 6-year-olds, so they're always on the small end. So to be tiny even for that was a bit of a shock to our system because we just assumed he was kind of normal stage child height, and then they lined them all up and we're like, oh, you're tiny even considered, even that considered. So that was kind of wild. But he added in this jump so that it was his interpretation of Gavroche trying to feel a little bigger, like not be noticed for being so tiny, to be like, no, I'm not as small as you think. And so he would always add in this jump. He would add it when he says evening governor to Javert. He would add it on Trust Gavroche. And then he would do it in the bows. And for a long while, if the show, like the better he felt the show had been, the bigger the skip in the bow. And then some of the fans had this, they like realized what was happening, and they had this big thing of trying to catch WB doing the skip. So I have some really lovely photos and then artistic interpretations of the skip. And I want to do a whole page that's just that story. So I'm going to keep the Stand Tall sticker for that particular page because I think that sentiment has to go there. Right. I wanted one more, and what was it? Do great things. This one. There we go. We've got 3 there. Those are all from the just normal Reasons to Smile sticker book, no matter what retailer you get it from. And then, is there anything I want to add in here? Yeah, from the scrapbook.com one, it has navy heart to go with those hearts. Oh, it's a bit more purpley than I realized. Never mind, sorry. In the glare of the packaging, it looked like the navy, but it's actually purple. So we'll skip that. Do I get an extra red flower so I could have 3? Yes, I do. Kirsty's son was in a school production of Les Mis, and she really enjoyed making red, white, and blue layouts. Yeah. Okay. Right. I'll bring in a tiny one. Like that. Okay. Getting used to collection and kind of starting to see how it's going to come together. Oh, thank you, Joanna. Yeah. It has been a real adventure, and I don't know. Husband will just laugh at me being a bit of a sob fest, but you know, it feels really nice to help somebody's dream come true. And he used to talk about, oh, it'd be so cool to be in this show, and he got to do that, so that's pretty cool. Really, really cool. So happy to support that. Georgia says it's a shock, but not only has she not seen Les Mis, she has no idea what it's even about. It is about a man who steals a loaf of bread and a French rebellion. Actually, I'll get WB to do his summary because I bet his will be interesting. He'll probably have some whole scenario. Placement's better here because the conundrum here is the white line at the bottom. So I can bring this up so that the heart doesn't interfere with the white line and kind of make it change the shape, but then it's higher than the lettering. But with the flower, I can have a little bit more movement, and it's okay. Auntie Caffeine says, you seem like the opposite of a regular stage mother. I always think of stage moms as very aggressive, and you're so not that. Okay, so I've met both kinds, and I will say I meet a lot of the aggressive ones at lessons, at dance studios, at things like that. The kids that are in the shows don't seem to have that. Make your own correlations. But yeah, all the stage moms that I am actually super friends with, the ones that have been on the show, and we're all very like this. Like, and the thing that I can see is a big difference is, are you pushing the kid to do something you think they should do? Or are you trying to keep up with what the kid wants to do? And that's the thing where I find I try to have a really, really, really like keep myself grounded. Especially because I did theater. I come from a theatrical family where everybody is musical and everybody performs for generations. It would be very easy for me to be like, I like doing this, ergo you should do it. And I'm very transparent in that the first time I put him in a class when he was 3 years old, I put him in a class and I did it so I could go to class. Because Pineapple has a kids program on Sundays, and I could put him in for an hour and a half, and in that hour and a half when he's 3 years old, I could go do a grown-up dance class in the same building. So I just thought, he's 3, it's good fun, have a little sing-along. I mean, the kid always was singing, so I knew he'd at least like the singing part. Go kind of dance about with some kids and see what happens. And my attitude was, I will let this go as long as he likes it. Thinking that, it works out. If he's having fun and making some friends and singing some songs and I get to go to dance class, it's like childcare, basically. And then he came out like, this is the best thing ever. And he still goes to that same program. He now does 5 hours on a Sunday instead of an hour and a half. I still go to the same dance class. Yeah. Okay. Wood grain heart there. Red heart, I'm not sure about yet. Which one of these here? This one down here. This one up here. So in terms of making sure, he laughs at me because I ask him a lot. Are you sure you want to be doing this? You have a lot on your calendar. Is this what you want? Do you want to drop anything? He has been funny because of all the things he has on his schedule, the one thing that he'll be like, can I drop this? Is the one thing that is neither school nor performing arts related. It's the only sporty, like non-dance sporty thing on his schedule, and that is swimming. And he has a good time when he gets there, but he's always like, it takes a long time to get there. It's a long time to do this. And we've come to the agreement that get through your 7 stages, which is like the UK's kind of swimming program, and then you can be done. And he's at the end of stage 5. So he doesn't have all that much longer to go. He's a much better swimmer than I am at this point. But I didn't learn how to swim properly as a kid in a landlocked state where the only time I was ever in the water was like at a pool party, but you don't swim at a pool party, correct? You just kind of bounce around and hang out in the water and play games. So as long as I was okay enough to not drown, that's all I needed. And that's the kind of swimmer I was. I have no idea how you turn around if you swim a lap. I don't know how to do that. So anyway, so that's the only thing he's ever like, I don't know about this one. But otherwise, I'm always checking to see, like, are you still, every half term, this is the schedule. Is this still what you want? And he'll be like, Mommy, I would tell you if I didn't want to do it. So, yeah, it's more that I'm trying to keep up with him rather than make him do a set of things that I think is what he needs to do. Yeah. And we have a lot of discussions. Like, so he did 2 contracts on Les Mis, so he could have stopped halfway through what he's done. He could have stopped after 6 months. And I was like, the discussions we had about, are you sure? Do you want to do this? And he's like, yes. Mommy, stop asking me. The answer is yes. Okay. Whereas I know there are parents who don't operate that way and are more like, you will do this. And I don't ever want him to feel that sort of pressure. I want it to be that it's something he enjoys doing. And the moms that I get along with and the moms on the show, we're all very similar in that. Allison also doesn't know how to turn when she gets to the end of the lap. I'm so glad I'm not alone here. And Georgia says she's kind of meh about swimming because it's such a hassle. to get dry again, but it is a life skill. Yes. The reason I want to make sure he gets all the way through the swimming program is to not have the thing that happened to me as an adult, where once I was out of a landlocked state and had the chance to do things in the water, I didn't feel I was a strong enough swimmer to say yes. So when we were backpacking and we were out in New Zealand and we went out to see dolphins, I stayed on the boat and took pictures while everybody else swam with the dolphins because I did not feel I was a strong enough swimmer to actually enjoy that process. Now, you know, I like to take pictures, so being on the boat with my camera was me in my happy zone. I was not sad about this experience at all, but I felt weird that I wasn't giving myself the option. When we went to Hawaii, and I was like, I don't know if I should try surfing because that sounds terrifying. And so I wanted to make sure that he wouldn't ever have that feeling. He does not need to be on a swim team, and bless his heart, he's not going to be on a swim team. He can be a highly accurate but very slow swimmer, and his teacher has told me it's okay. He always does what I tell him to do, and I've had the opportunity to teach everyone else in the class how to safely overtake a slower swimmer in your lane. So there we go. He served a purpose. But yeah, he always has a good time. I think it is a hassle type class, isn't it? You got to go all the way to the pool. You got to get all this stuff done. You got to get in the water. Now you got to get out of the water. It's a lot. Oh, and he probably doesn't enjoy the swim lesson is the one day a week where he gets a proper blow dry of his hair as well. And he'd probably rather just like, but it makes a big difference to the condition of his hair to one day a week have a deep condition and a proper blow dry. Georgia was taught to swim by her grandmother, and she even swam with fish in Egypt. Amazing. And oh, who just said that? Where did it go? Somebody told me it's okay that I can't turn. It's only if you're competitive that you have to do a tumble turn. I can't see the comment now, but yeah, at least. Phew, I shouldn't have learned that. Okay. More. Oh, I need to remember that I want to write on this. But the red heart needs to go somewhere. I'm not loving this space here, so let's work out something to go there. Let's put that one there. Do I have any letters to July name stickers in my desk? I'm not sure. Let's see. This is letters to July on Etsy. Etsy? I don't know where my brain went there. Okay. Newsies, Cinderella, Newsies, Wicked, Mary Poppins. No, we have many sheets of Les Mis stickers, but they are not here in the drawer. They're somewhere else. Okay, don't worry. There will be an opportunity for me to use them once I know where I've put them. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that today. But this needs some elements that are like not just flat. That's from the kit. Let's have a look at dots and puffy stickers and things like that from Reasons to Smile. Oh, here they are. Okay, so the dots are not going to help me. I don't have the red or the blue from the collection in the dots. I got peachy, pink, orange, turquoise. But I've got some little navy and red hearts in here. And I don't need a huge amount. I just need to kind of balance this. I'm going to trade those, and we're going to make a little visual trio of red right there. Star, I have this star again in yellow, but only yellow. I've got some plain little stars, but not in the navy. I have it in the lighter blue. And I'm trying to think of any, like, the really aggressive kind of stage parents that you see that kind of like, you know, the things that they emphasized on the Dance Moms TV show. I've not run into that on any of the jobs he's done. Yeah. And there is something to be said about when you go to an audition, the parents are all in a room waiting. If your behavior makes you look like hard work, I fully believe they will be like, is that kid good enough to put up with that parent? Because it's a team. So I would always suggest behaving oneself. Oh, there's one more light blue here. Okay. No, because this already has its triangle. Right. And now just this spot here, I think we fix with a word strip. The ones on the 6x12 have the wrong kind of sentiments for this page, but I've got reds and blues here. I've already got do great things up there, but I've got I can and I will, or trust your heart. Have I used that one? The red would be good. Okay, so let's do that one. Actually, maybe the blue one is... Oh, I even have that sentiment in red and blue. Can use the same sentiment. Sophia's sketchbook prompt today is to choose 5 things at random from her stash. She laid out 21 things and got the kids to give her numbers. What have you got? What are your 5 things? Oh, yeah, it's not very shabby chic, even though I started with wood grain and paper tearing, which I suppose has the potential to go shabby. It is always really interesting to see different styles with my products. I'm going to make this shorter. So when somebody takes this wood grain paper or any of the wood grains in this collection and then goes a completely different direction than bright colors and clean design on top of it, it will always kind of surprise me, but in a really happy way. It's a good surprise. I do really enjoy seeing what different people do to take it in their style. Okay, and I used all the stickers that I pulled out there. I've put something into that space so that doesn't feel so empty. I think that is the time to just stop and add some mist, because I know there's a gap here, but I'm going to journal in that can fit into the gap. If my journaling does not fit into that gap, then I will change tack and put more stuff in. But I have a feeling I'll have to keep myself edited down to make it fit rather than the other way around. There we go. So, first layout with reasons to smile plus One piece of paper from the July kit. Have a little zoom in here. Oh, if the computer decides it would like to. There we go. Sorry about that. Oh, it's done that thing where it doesn't want to focus. Okay, never mind. Sorry. We'll have to just look at it here. All right. Thank you so much for joining me as I rambled on about that. I will go through the questions here. And oh, that's a really good one. Christina has a question for WB about how much freedom you get to play a character when you're going into a set role and sharing it. I'll put up a little community post, and I'll also do a Q&A box on Instagram, and then we'll go through and see what questions he wants to answer. Fabulous. Thank you so much for indulging me. Have a great weekend. I'll be live and back with the kit on Monday at 1:30. And then, yeah, that'll be July kit. And then I'll put Reasons to Smile separate from the live streams after that. Fabulous. Thank you. And thanks for putting up with all my silly, not mentioning things. I know it's annoying when people can't just say it, but I hope you do understand in this case that, one, I'm following the rules, but also that the rules are there for a reason. So it's just about keeping the kids safe, and you never want to put them in danger. So I appreciate all your understanding there, and I hope you have a lovely weekend. Thanks for the thumbs ups, and I'll see you soon.